Hey, what's up, everyone? For those of you who have watched some of my Tesla Model 3 videos, I think you've got a good idea of how I feel about the Model 3, and it's really a car that I'm totally comfortable with. I remember when the Model Y was announced, I remember looking at it and saying, why would I want to spend more? Why would I want this car if I get a Model 3 and it meets my expectations? Well, that was the case for me. It certainly met my expectations. And so I've never had interest in the Model Y. And I still think that's mostly true, but I recently had an opportunity to get inside of a Model Y for the first time. And so this isn't a Model Y review. I haven't done enough driving and enough testing to give it a review, but here's my initial reaction to seeing the Model Y in person in my driveway. This is very exciting, but there is a Tesla Model Y in my driveway. My wife's friend just bought one. She brought it over. Here is my first look and first reaction at the Tesla Model Y. There it is. Ooh-hoo-hoo. Looks good. Let's check out the chrome delete. I like it. Looks a lot like the Model 3, obviously. Sweet, the black rims are phenomenal. Wow. Kind of interesting seeing the wood. Mine is white. I do like the black seats. First reaction sitting in the car, it's definitely a little more roomy than the Model 3. I mean, no surprise, but it's not significantly bigger in terms of specs, but it definitely does feel bigger. And you sit a little higher up, which I really like. I mean, this is, wow, I mean, I don't feel a need to upgrade, but I'm impressed. Just initial sitting in the car, this thing feels phenomenal. So here are a few takeaways from my few minutes inside the Model Y and looking at it from the outside. My first takeaway is there's certainly more space than it appears on the outside. I remember thinking the Model 3 has plenty of space. Why would I need anything else? And that's certainly well, let me back up. The Model 3 has plenty of space. I don't feel cramped in it at all, but when you get in the Model Y, wow, it feels way spacious compared to the Model 3. So that was my biggest takeaway, was just, wow, there's so much space in here. It felt great. My second takeaway is I felt like I was higher off the road, and I just liked having a better angle. You're very low in the Model 3, and that's fine, that doesn't bother me, but I really enjoyed in my, albeit brief, sit behind the wheel. I liked being more elevated, so I just liked that better point of view. And it's certainly noticeable, the all-glass roof. It does go back a little further than the Model 3, so there's not quite the interruption of that bar where you have the mirrors that pop down. It's not quite as obtrusive as the Model 3, so that was really nice as well. My final takeaway from my brief stint in the Model Y was it just felt more premium. There's a few complaints I have about my Model 3 when, I spent over $40,000. And when you spend that kind of money on a car, to have to use both hands to push on the front, and you still have to do that with the Model Y, but that's like, okay, that doesn't feel luxury. And in the case of my Model 3, it's a manual open of the trunk. And so even when you open the trunk on the app, it just pops open a little bit and you have to open it. There's no automatic lift. And you're like, thinking about the Model Y, and that's certainly a feature there. It's been well documented. It just makes you wonder, like, why doesn't the Model 3 have this? Like, this seems like at that price point, you should get this. So having that was really nice. Having the button inside the trunk too, where you can just push it and it goes down, and how you can set how high it goes up. All of that just makes it feel like I'm driving not a luxury car, but certainly a mid-tier vehicle where when I'm driving the Model 3, when I'm behind the wheel, I'm driving it, it feels mid-tier, borderline luxury. It feels great, sounds great, drives great. But then there's all these little things where you're like, that shouldn't be the case for a $40,000 car, like the, like the trunk, and even the front still bothers me, the way that you have to close it. So I just think that the Model Y, it gives you a better feeling for, okay, I spent X number of dollars, I am in a car that matches that price, where the Model 3, sometimes you feel that way, other times you don't. So that was certainly nice. At the end of the day, I'm really happy with my Model 3. I'm in no rush to change that out, upgrade to the Model Y, get a Model S, none of that. I think I'll drive this Model 3 for a long time. But the Model Y, from my initial reaction to it, there's no doubt about it that it exceeded my expectations. Thanks for following the channel, guys. If you haven't subscribed, like it. And then, I always say this, but if you're gonna buy a Tesla, you got to use a referral code, whether that's mine or someone else's. Get those free supercharging miles. And it's not nearly as big of a benefit for me. As I mentioned before, I don't road trip that much, but I bought mine with a referral code, and just to get those free supercharging miles, why not if you're gonna buy one? So again, thanks for watching. Merry Christmas. Have a wonderful end of a tough year in 2020, and we'll see you next time.